And if you notice now, how many three-man booths are there on Raw or SmackDown?
Right now, there's none.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's too difficult. And it's nothing against Corey Graves, but he just happened to be the one that I was working with when I came back. And I believe at my core that he didn't want me there. And again, that's okay because it's his time now. But it doesn't mean that I didn't have something to give. But I was like the outcast. I was trying to get in. And I remember years ago, JR used to teach me that when you do a three-man booth, it's like a three-man weave. And you've got to be able to hit guys for a layup or a dunk at the right times while Vince is screaming in your ear. And if everybody's not on the same page, the ball's going to go out of bounds. And that's what I felt like those few months when I came back in 2018 was we fumbled the ball out of bounds because it was a three-man booth. And if I would have been there with Michael or whoever, and I could have been allowed to go back to heel coach in a two-man booth, I think it would have been completely different. So that's why I say never say never. If it was in that role, fine. I would never go back and do a three-man booth, and I would never go back and be that journalist to keep my credibility because, quite frankly, look at the landscape, Chris, now. You got Joe Tessitore drinking on camera, Pat McAfee getting loaded on camera in Dublin, Ireland. I started it. I was the one that made that crossover happen in 2008. So now there's no more, oh, well, he's at ESPN, so you can't do wrestling, or he's at wrestling, so he can't do ESPN.
Yeah.
The whole thing has changed. So if it was the right role, I would. But I'm enjoying building this world with you, where there's a huge chasm between credible people who have done it, who are in it, and just the fans at home who are marks that think they know about the business, and all they do is insult people.
So was our interview last year kind of your gateway drug to allow you to kind of get back into like, all right, I like wrestling a little bit now?
It was something. It was a reflection for me.
Okay.
Because I was very honest, and I've had people, probably 100 or more, bring up that interview, and they say, "Coach, but you said," and when I started behind the turnbuckle, "What are you doing?" And they accuse me of starting the show to try to get back into the WWE, and I'm like, before you accuse me, watch the show, because I'm as critical of the WWE as I am of AEW. It's an opinion-based show, and the reason we do it, but we also are positive, just like you are, because this is a business that people need to understand, and the more they understand, the more they can enjoy it, instead of just watching it always to look for something bad, because that's what most fans do, and they're so negative, and social media is a cesspool. And especially in wrestling.
Yes.
But what I've also found, and part of the reason you went almost exclusively to wrestling, is they're also the most rabid fan base. And I said to myself, if I'm going to embrace remote and I don't want to move away from my kids and I don't want to take a job in another state because my kids are in high school, I've got to figure out something. And why not lead into something that I did for damn near 15 years? Why am I ignoring that part of my life? It was stupid. Over money. And so I can admit when I was wrong, and I can admit when, do I enjoy every minute? No, I don't enjoy every minute because I think some of it's really, really bad. But I enjoy being somebody who understands the business, and I'm really, really smart about the business. And I've been in there, you listed all the guys, I've been in there with the all-time greats.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ignore that anymore.
I don't think it's that you were wrong that you weren't going to do stuff in wrestling again. It's just that was a chapter of your life.
Yep.
And at that point, you were like, I really don't like how that ended. You felt like you got screwed over by Vince McMahon.
I did. I felt like I got screwed over. And then also the 5 or 6 months that they put me on Raw and SmackDown, I didn't like how I was treated. And they can say what they want, but that's the truth. I would actively every week ask Michael Cole, can you talk to Corey about us working together? I have nothing against Corey Graves. I've known Michael Cole since 1999. But if they don't want to work with you, there's nothing you can do. And Corey never wanted to talk to me. Like before, I never had one conversation with Corey Graves, and I tried. And that's okay, because that's kind of how the business is. When you get, I call it boxing out your pension when you're at ESPN. If you don't want somebody to step in and take your spot, and I was never going to take his spot. He's amazing doing Raw or SmackDown. It was about, that's what Vince wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't come in and go, I'm stepping into that spot. And so it was really frustrating because I felt like I could have really helped. But also now I'm much more vocal about knowing, and this is the other thing is that with the whole ESPN situation, you don't know because I work for the PGA Tour now too. So there's not too many golf announcers that wear backward hats and sunglasses.
Yeah.
But I do it.
Yeah.
Because now they just had a tournament with YouTubers. PGA Tour is embracing YouTube. Everything has changed. And so now I realize that back in 2018, maybe that wasn't the time. But in 2024, there is no more, oh, he's a wrestling guy or he's a YouTube guy. We're all in the same bucket. And however you can get views and however you can get people to watch and listen and be funny, entertaining, and also credible, that's what we're trying to do. So that's kind of the lane I'm in.